Hi there, Professor Lady here, and the Pine Bush UFO and Paranormal Museum Fair is coming up in 2 weeks, June 7th. The speaker headliner is Nick Pope from the UK. I'm sure you are all familiar with him, and that should be really interesting and exciting. The Pine Bush UFO and Paranormal Museum has this fair every year. During the day, they have fun. They have like a parade, costumes, game shows, silly stuff, but they also have a speaker's tent. Um, I'm not sure if there's short like lectures in that tent. I've never gone during the day, but it looks really fun. But always at night, they have a very serious lineup of well-known UFO researchers and insiders. So I expect this year it's going to be very, very crowded and very exciting. I'll be there. And I can't wait to meet some of the members of my private Hudson Valley UAP Facebook group. Um, it's a group that I started, a very small group, keeping it small, keeping it intimate. People who are serious about learning about UAP in the Hudson Valley, the history, and what's going on now as well. And I'll put a link to that in the description if people want to request to join. But I want to keep it small and serious, and safe space, a safe space. All right, so the UFO Paranormal Museum, Pine Bush UFO Paranormal Museum, has monthly experiencer meetings. I attended my first one. They're the first Wednesday of the month, and it's a safe space for people who have seen UAP, who have had various experiences. It was amazing. Really incredible people, incredible stories. And so if you live in the area and you're interested, it is the first Wednesday of every month at 7 o'clock. And they request a $5 donation for refreshments. I highly recommend that. And it's led by an incredible man, Dr. Wyans, who has been involved in the Pine Bush UAP phenomenon and media frenzy. Well, that was in the past, not so much today. But through the decades, he and his wife have been involved, and they had this group before. They took a break. Now they're bringing it back because so many new, young, and older, original Pine Bush experiencers are just absolutely wanting to talk about what's going on in disclosure news, in UAP world, and again, share their experiences and photos. So I went to the meeting, and Dr. Wyans is like this sage of UAP, Hudson Valley lore. And he says, once you see something, you continue to see something. And, you meet people who are experiences, who are witnesses, and it's like this organic process. It keeps going in your life, and synchronicities and all of this. So, I was leaving, I said to myself, better look at the sky as I'm driving home. I'm not expecting to see anything. Wouldn't you know, when I get home, I look up, it's cloudy, and there's this fleet, this group, I don't know what you want to call it, of 8 to 10 dots of light moving like in a playful way. All right? Individual ones they're like going from triangles to playing around, going back and forth like this. Not a group moving, drifting like a bunch of balloons. Like intelligently controlled, moving in a way, I've never seen anything like this, all right? And it was cloudy and you could see them in the breaks of the clouds. I just looked up for the heck of it when I got home across the river from Pine Bush, and I freaking see this thing. This, what is this? I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what did it follow me home from Pine Bush? This is insane. This has sort of been described by, yes, it's been described by other people in the group, in the Facebook group. And I got these reports and I didn't fully understand what they were talking about because I never saw it firsthand. These things were too low to be satellites and too high to be drones. And again, they're not flying in a line as a group going in one direction. They're slowly moving in a group, but they're playing. They're playing around. They're like getting closer to each other and then moving apart and dancing. And I've never seen anything like this. All right. So I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, did something follow me home from Pine Bush? What is going on? There's another person in the group who regularly sees these orb-like objects, I guess he calls them. Would I go so far as to call these orbs? I don't know. Not yet. Not the ones I saw. But, you know, he once described, there's a fleet of them heading, basically it was in my direction, the direction that he gave. And I was out there driving around looking for this fleet of drones or UFOs or whatever. I went out multiple times. I couldn't find them. And it's not that I didn't believe the person, right? I just didn't get to see it myself. And so that's a corroborating witness. He says he sees this all the time. It's a group. Some are low, some are higher. So I tried to take a video and I got sort of shots of them in a triangle. But you can't see the element of them like dancing around. It was very, very cloudy, which makes it really interesting because you couldn't really see stars. So in a way, they really stood out because they were one of the few things in the sky that you could see. And every time there was a break in the clouds, I could see them and they're dancing. I think I'll see them again and I'll get a better video. This is a really brief clip of the 1-minute video that I posted to the channel. It's not great, you know, our phones, it's difficult to really capture what you're seeing, but I hope you get a sense that these lights were moving against the sky. They're not stars sitting there in one place. I yelled for my son to come out. He also saw it and he's like, what? So there you go. I'm going to try to see it again and capture a better video. Okay. So I wanted to mention, since I'm talking about the Hudson Valley, there's a famous case now, Ben Hansen, a former FBI personnel, I believe. He's done a lot of things. He's been on the History Channel. He's had documentaries. He did a special on the Hudson Valley UFOs. In fact, he's been on this case, and it's the sighting by Connecticut police officer Robert Klein over a reservoir in Fairfield County, Connecticut. Incredible sighting that's been covered on News Nation. They have a really good reenactment of the sighting. I'm bringing it up again because they found some other witnesses, and I recently saw the video about these additional witnesses. I don't know how recent it was, but corroborating this story of this incredible plasma-like object over the reservoir. So this woman, She works for a community center over there by this reservoir. And she goes outside, and she's a regular sky watcher, and she sees this activity over the reservoir, these lights, unusual lights, similar to what the police officers saw. She was so freaked out, she called 911 and asked for a police escort on account that there was UFOs over the reservoir, and she was afraid to go to her car. She wanted a police escort to her car. The 911 operator had an interesting night, right? That's a different kind of call. So she totally, it was the same time, it was the same place. So we're getting a triangulation. There's another witness. I haven't seen the video yet. I'm not sure they've come public yet. But there's other witnesses. So this police officer, who is so credible to begin with, father of 5 kids, veteran Connecticut police officer, his whole car was lit up, and this orb, plasma-like orb over his car, never seen anything like it, and then it jumped straight across the reservoir within seconds. It's here, and then it's there. And I recently saw a scientist talking about his theory on that, when people see UAP here, and then all of a sudden it's over here. A half mile away or something. He feels that the UAP is going into almost like punching a hole in a different dimension that they've come from. And so it's not that they're traveling across our sky. It's almost like going behind a veil, going into this other dimension, and poking through at another place. So it looks like they've traveled that place, but they've actually gone behind the veil, kind of, and appeared another place. Traveling within that dimension, then appearing at another place in our sky. Very interesting theory. But a lot of people report this. I see it here, and then it's a half a mile away. In 1 second? Yeah, we don't have anything like that. Okay, so the final thing I want to mention is I do have a preliminary survey out. So I'm always talking about this survey study, research study that I want to do. And it's going to happen. It's going to be a survey study, but I'm going to try to do a qualitative study as well. That's when you interview people and you get interview data, and you analyze that data from the interviews or a focus group. So I have this 10-minute brief survey that I would love for people to fill out if they had a sighting in the 1980s, mainly in Connecticut or the Hudson Valley. So what I'm doing is giving you the choice. If you share your name, your email, I can follow up with you and do an interview if I feel that your story is something that would fit well into the study. I'm also going to ask at some point for anyone to take the longer survey, which will be part of the more comprehensive survey, of looking at the effects of sightings on people who were part of this historic UFO flap in the Hudson Valley in Connecticut in the 80s. Every story I read, people are like, I will never forget it. It's like it happened yesterday. I know what I saw. And, those are very common sentiments. And I want to look at that, but I also want to see if these sightings were followed up by other anomalous experiences, because we're seeing that that's common for the Phoenix lights. So I'm getting some responses back based on posting it on Reddit and some other places. And one person gave me permission to share their experience, just to read it. It's brief. Like I said, it's a very brief survey. You don't have to write paragraphs and paragraphs in this. But they said, and this is the sentiment of many others, it's seared into my memory, crystal clear, 43 years later, as if I were there still. And I knew it wasn't something that was created by man or nature. It was extraordinary. At 12, I became a believer. This person was playing kick the can with other children, and they saw a triangular object, which was seen by many people. The borders were illuminated in orange-yellow light. The center appeared to be dark. It started to rotate and go faster, and then the 3 points broke off and became 3 separate triangles. This sighting was followed by 2 others in the late 80s, early 90s. A similar shaped object over the Dutchess County Airport. No doubt this was not a plane. And then again, a third sighting. And this time the person did not want to see it. First 2, they reacted with awe. Third, a little different. They had enough. They didn't want to see this again for some reason. This one was boomerang shaped with orange lights. Again, I think it was larger than the first two sightings. No doubt, not human. Silent. People are absolutely certain who saw these objects in the 80s during the UAP, the world famous UAP flap of the Hudson Valley in Connecticut, that these objects were not made by human beings. And I believe people. I do. They were not. Especially in the 80s, we didn't have anything close to what these people are describing, and they will never, ever forget what they saw. It's as real as anything, as if it happened yesterday. And there's a few moments in our life that give us that feeling. It changes people. It really does. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in this research. But at this phase, I just want to collect stories of witnesses, Hudson Valley and Connecticut witnesses. Okay, so if you would fill out that quick survey if you were a witness or experiencer during that time period, or more recently is fine too. But I am trying to focus the research on the big flap of the early to mid 80s. And like and subscribe if you enjoy this Hudson Valley UAP podcast, and much more to come, folks. See you soon. Bye. They have more. And so the theory is of transliminality.